We need to start connecting with the customer to build trust before we talk about numbers. Numbers are very much an emotional trust thing. And if we bring them up in the beginning, customers will shut down. Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in. These are the top 2 things to never say when you go on a sales call. Avoid these. You got a fighting chance that you'll get something in the door. So guys, look, when it comes to contractors, we're not often trained as salespeople. We tend to, and I know I started out this way, where I was just really good at building stuff. And I love using my hands to bring ideas to life. And, this whole sales thing kind of got thrown into it. It wasn't something I really trained for. So there's some things that I learned along the way, these 2 specifically, that have really shifted the way that I focus on sales. So with that being the case, if you decide to use these, they're going to increase the amount of uncertainty. You think you're being polite, you think you're being helpful, but it just drives uncertainty in clients. And when clients are uncertain, they don't make a move. They get stuck. They freeze. And therefore, they're not moving forward with your project. Even if they give you a polite smile and a yes, it's not happening. So the first one here is, we can do anything you want. You ever have that? Customers like, hey, I want all these things. Like, yeah, no problem. We can do anything you want. And we think we're being helpful, but unfortunately what happens is the client hears, you have no process, because there's nobody can be good at everything. And you're definitely not a leader, because if you were a leader, then there'd be something you do really well. That's why there's home builders and pool builders and landscapers and hardscapers and, deck builders. That's why there's specialties, because you can be really good at one thing. So if you say you can do everything, we can do anything that you want, customers think, yeah, well, they probably tell it to everybody. One day they're digging a trench. The next day they're putting a roof on a house. The next day they're washing a dog. I mean, think about it. The customer's mind goes all over the place. What they want is a guide, a specialist, someone who's mastered what they're doing, or at least on the path of mastery. You can't master everything. So when we say things like, oh, we can do anything you want, the client thinks, yeah, probably not that well. Probably not going to be very good at what they're going to do. It actually kills confidence. That flexibility kills confidence. So it's very important that you understand that that is not something you should be focusing. We need to get the clients to understand exactly what you do really well, and make sure that they don't think that you're just a jack of all trades and a master of none, because that'll drive your perceived value through the floor. Think about it. When you go to a doctor and you're just going to a general doctor versus going to a specialist, do you expect to pay more or less when you go to that specialist than your general doctor? Think about it. It's the same basic idea here. So if you're doing that, if you're saying, yeah, we can do anything you want, you're going to be digging your own grave when it comes to putting price on the table. Because once you do, they're going to be like, well, I'm not confident he can do well, but he says he can do it. I'm not really sure, regardless of how confident you are. So be careful. Specializing is really where the money's at. That's where you can offer and ask for a premium when it comes to your price and designs. If you're just a jack of all trades, well, you're always going to fight the battle of price. That's just what it is. The next one up here. Actually, no, before we get to the next one, I want to share what you can actually say instead of, we can do anything you want. You could say something like, there's a lot of directions we can go, but based on what I'm hearing, I got a few ideas that will work best for your lifestyle, budget, and vision. Are you open to exploring those? And let the client decide. There's a lot of things you can do. I know how skilled your hands are. Most contractors are good at doing a bunch of stuff, right? It's almost part of the trade. You have to be able to do a bunch of different things. I know I grew up doing just about everything, from changing engines in cars to digging ditches to planting trees to roofing buildings to putting windows in to doing just about everything because we had to. But, there's certain things that we're really good at and certain things that we aren't. So we have to be very careful. So instead of saying we can do anything you want, basically you're saying, hey, we have a lot of options here, but let's focus on what's going to make the most sense for you. Let's explore those together, and that'll help shift that for you. Next up is, and this is my favorite one that so many contractors lead with right up in the beginning. It's, what's your budget, right? By asking a client, hey, Mrs. Jones, how you doing? What are you thinking about? I need a patio. What's your budget? An immediate response. what you're basically saying is, I don't give a shit. I don't care. What I do care about is, are you going to waste my time? And that's what it comes across as, even though I know most contractors don't think that way. But I do know that's how it feels to a customer. And they start thinking, yeah, they only care about my wallet. They're just sizing me up. They're trying to figure out if I'm even worth their time. It immediately puts a barrier between you and your customer. Here's something you could say instead. Not that budget isn't a great conversation, and we will have lots of conversation about budget in this course, exactly how to do it. Not to lead with. We need to build a relationship. We need to start connecting with the customer to build trust before we talk about numbers. Numbers are very much an emotional trust thing. And if we bring them up in the beginning, customers will shut down. And when they shut down, there's no way in. And once there's no way in, there's no way to serve and help, right? There's no way to guide somebody who doesn't want to be guided. So instead of that, you might say something like, if everything lined up perfectly and you love the plan, what kind of investment would you feel right to create the space your family can enjoy for years? And again, I'm still saying that would be a great thing to say a little later once you've built some rapport, you've asked other great questions. Like, what would the ideal dream space look like for you in the backyard? Or how do you envision your family using this space? Or like I said in the last segment about, what about the last contractor did you dislike? So you get a sense of how they like to buy and if you're going to be a good fit. But when you spin this around after those conversations and you finally get into the end, 3/4, 7/8 of the way through, you can start talking about budget because you've built value, you've built rapport, you've built trust. The client's like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I kind of like this guy. I like this gal. They're really awesome. I can't wait to work with this team. And then all of a sudden they loosen up their grip on that number, that budget number, and they're more open to the conversation. That's why it's so important. Don't lead with this, please. Don't lead with this. You're just destroying your close rate by doing this. Budget is important, but there's a place and a time for it. And it's later in the conversation. So again, if you want to hear that, if everything lined up perfectly and you love the plan, what kind of investment would you feel right to create a space your family can enjoy for years? And they're going to give you a number. Most of the time it's low because they don't know. They're not going to say, I've got 100% of the budget right here. It is. Most are going to hold back because they don't know you yet. They don't trust you yet. It's time for us to build that relationship, to make sure that they can feel safe when they give that number out and feel safe in us agreeing that that number is enough or whether that number is not enough for what they're asking for, and then how to have that conversation. Because we don't want to even leave the office until that conversation's been had. Because, if you're going out to site, trying to figure out budget on site, yeah, you got a lot of time invested. What if you're doing it from the office 30, 40 minutes after you've met with the client on the phone? And makes all the difference to be able to iron that piece out. That's something that we are teaching here as well. The skill set and being able to have that budget conversation over the phone and have both you and the clients feel comfortable, confident, and ready to move forward with clarity that you are a good fit and that the budget is right for everyone. So this isn't just about trying to create communication back and forth. This is about guiding. This is about making sure that your customer knows that you're a specialist in something and that you don't just focus on the money. Because when they feel that, they may open up a little bit more. They're going to be more open to having a conversation with you, and it's going to create more confidence and clarity. And that's really what we're after, right? More certainty that you're a good fit. And the more value you bestow upon them through your conversations, the higher likelihood that customer is going to say, you know what? Yeah, there's something different about that company. Those guys actually ask good questions, and they really helped us understand what we truly needed, and not what we wanted, but what we needed. And that's really where we add the magic into this conversation and build this out. So it's about being confident, being clear, and guiding your customer with great questions. You're going to hear me say that 1,000 times, and it's going to be 1,000 times more because that is the truth of it all. Be the detective. Your customers are going to love it, and you're going to see it by what your bank account looks like at the end of the year when you've gone from trying to be the one that knows everything, telling a client what he shouldn't do, to being the one who listens intentfully, asks good questions in the right order, and specializes in a way that clients will really truly value. What if you could close 75% of your projects without chasing, convincing, or dropping your price? That's not a dream, that's the mission. Mission 75. Here at Yes Express Sales Academy, we are spearheading a bold shift to help outdoor living contractors sell with confidence, not desperation. Because let's be real, you've been told to just give them a good price and hope for the best. You've been trained to beg for work and give away your time and compete with contractors who don't even play at your level. That ends now. I wrote the Core 10 Sales Playbook because it's the system I desperately needed 20 years ago. It's built for real-world, design-build contractors, not guys in suits. Inside, I'll show you how to qualify leads in minutes, speak to emotion, not features, cut confusion and eliminate ghosting, lead the sales call with calm authority, and close premium jobs without flinching. That book drops in January 2026. Check out the show notes to get on the list to be the first in line to grab your copy of the Core 10 Sales Playbook before they're gone. This isn't about working harder, it's about selling smarter, and it starts now. Let's raise the standard together.